Hi, everyone. I'm Susan Schofield. Welcome to the Schofield Truth. We're dispelling all the rumors that have been plaguing the internet about us for years, and we've never had the voice, the chance to actually have our own courtroom here where we're able to say what's going on, not be silenced. My husband, Corey Cabana, is here, along with my daughter, Jani Schofield, who has lived this nightmare because the rumors all led to our CPS case. And it is CPS, which is the Child Protective Services. It's an umbrella. DCFS is one of the acronyms that the County of Los Angeles uses. Different counties have different acronyms. And it's the Department of Child and Family Services in Los Angeles County. So our cases, we have one open and one closed. We can only talk about the one that is closed, and that is Jani's case. We can provide all the documents we want about her case, everything, because she's here and she approves what we're doing. So anyway, we're going to have a little fun before we start with Jani's Jeopardy. So go on, Jani. Let's have some fun questions.
A mock court in which laws of justice are disregarded.
What is a kangaroo court?
That is correct.
That's correct. And that is the Edelman Courthouse. You heard it here, probably not first.
The Edelman Courthouse is a kangaroo court in the fact that it does not obey the law of the land. I mean, the judges are not held accountable for their decisions. They violate the Constitution. They violate the state constitution. They violate the state statutes. They violate the rules of the court. They violate everything, and it doesn't seem like anybody really cares. So we're basically going to make enough noise until somebody cares.
Yep, we're making noise. So go ahead, Jani. What's the next one?
A nonprofit group of court-appointed attorneys that waive their clients' due process rights at the detention hearing.
What is LADL, otherwise known as Los Angeles Dependency Lawyers? I know, I always have a hard time saying that one. This is a group of nonprofit lawyers that receive money from donations and the state, federal government to defend parents against allegations that are brought on by the social workers and DCFS counsel. So tell us a little bit more about that, Corey.
Well, the thing is that they have a mission statement, and that mission statement is really simple. It says that they're going to provide substantive and procedural legal representation for parents. That's all great, except for one thing. They don't do it. They don't provide the actual substantive legal advice or legal representation. They stand there. They say, I represent, but they don't do the job. When it's time to submit a paper or make a question or present an argument, they don't.
Yeah.
Simple. They just don't.
And we'll get into more of why they don't as our shows go on. So, Jani, what's the next one?
Number 3. A nonprofit group of lawyers failing to protect children in DCFS custody.
What is the Children's Law Center?
Otherwise known as CLC. Go on.
Children's Law Center is exactly like the LADL, the Los Angeles Dependency Lawyers. They are also a non-profit group where they get donations from public. They get federal funding. They get state funding. And last year they raked in $101 million. So business is good.
Business is good. And what happened, Jani, when you were at Wayfinder Shelter? I kept telling you, because I knew all this stuff was going on with you. You were throwing up. You're being sent to the hospital. And I couldn't do anything. So I kept saying, call your lawyer. So what happened, Jani? You tried to call Lucila Charez.
Yes, I tried to call Lucila Charez several times over my stay in Wayfinder and Maryvale. And every time I called, she was, quote unquote, out of the office all the time.
And the only time she actually showed up was in court where she was basically bringing you in with a stuffed animal
And a coloring book.
and a coloring book, because that is how bad Jani was during that time.
That's her mental.
Her mental state had gone from
She was 6.
Yeah.
yeah, oh, 6, yeah,
She
yeah.
was 6.
No, 4.
4 maybe. I don't know. It was bad. It was bad. She was leading you around. You were like a
No,
doll in her arms.
Yeah, that's not 6. That's 4.
Yeah, it was very bad. Very bad, very sad. All right, Jani, what is the next one?
Okay, last one. A non-profit therapeutic girls group home where 40-year-old men watched me go to the bathroom.
How do you like that one? The
Well,
theme of nonprofit comes up a lot here because
That's called
what we're
Maryvale.
yes, thank you. That's right.
What is Maryvale?
What is Maryvale? And very good, loves. So yeah, that's the therapeutic group home that they had to send Jani to. It's not really therapeutic. It is a group home.
And it's also a drug ring.
It's a drug ring.
It's a halfway house between actual juvenile hall and foster homes. These are the girls that could not stay in the foster homes, or they couldn't keep them in the foster homes. They kept running away from the foster homes. They kept getting themselves in trouble, drugs, boyfriends, curfew, who knows, whatever. But they didn't do enough to get them actually thrown into detention juvenile hall. So they locked them up in Maryvale.
All right. So Jani, what I was able to take video of you in the bathroom at Wendy's in Culver City when you were at Wayfinder, because Judy Thomas, the social worker, was working her way into getting
me into Maryvale.
Exactly. So you go from Valencia High School, a regular public high school, special ed, high functioning special ed program, to now you're taking off all meds cold turkey. You can't control yourself at all. You've lost 20 pounds
in 13
days, and you are now a problem child. Now you've got to be locked up in a facility, a therapeutic group home for your quote-unquote attention-seeking behavior. Tell us about that, Jani. What were the first days like?
When I first got my room into Maryvale, this was so disgusting. It's even hard for me to say it. There was vomit on the window. And I was like, and that was the second I was like, oh no, this is not going to be good.
And I couldn't do anything.
Well, you weren't allowed.
I wasn't allowed.
There was no, you couldn't see Jani's room, but
Okay, it's okay.
Visitation at Maryvale was done either in the yard, which was contained with a wall and a barbed wire and electric fence.
Oh, yes.
And
Oh,
there was
the electric fence.
Yes.
And there was also a room that they would put us in for visitation as well. But we were never allowed to go into the bedrooms. So we never saw the living conditions.
Right. And you'll notice another thing when we talk about visitation, detention, these are all prison terms. And it's like they're acclimating these kids to prison life. All of a sudden now you're AWOLing, you're out of bounds, you're detained from your parents. And another thing that I want to say is, if the parents are so bad, and this is kind of across the board, if the parents are so bad, why are the kids locked up? Why is it I was able to do anything I wanted?
Right.
And yet my daughter's locked up and
Why is this not criminal court? That's what I'm saying. Because why is there a separate individual dependency court? If this is child abuse, and if this is criminal, if this is a crime, why do they have to have their own court?
Because they are able to get away with the lies. The lies are intentional. The perjury is intentional. They sign reports that you can't cross-examine them because your court-appointed attorney won't let you. Well, you can't even get rid of your court-appointed attorney because the judge says no.
The best thing about it is they just avoid asking questions that the judge could potentially rule for the parents against the department. That's all they do. They maneuver their narrative to avoid asking the questions that will go against the department. That's all the court is avoiding the question.
Yep. And Jani, tell us then about what happened at Maryvale those first few nights.
Okay. The first few nights, they had this rule about you can't go on an outing for 7 days after you get there. And there was something I really wanted to go to before my 7 days were up, so I had an episode because I couldn't go because it was before my 7 days were up.
And what happened during these episodes that you had? They're not supposed to put hands on you. It's a level 12 facility, although it is closed now. It was shut down. I think they're trying to come back, though. But they're not supposed to put hands on you. But were you restrained?
Yes, I was. They definitely did put hands on me.
And they would not give you, the psychiatrist there, Dr. Elmachat, he saw you. What did he say about these episodes? He knew you were diagnosed with schizophrenia. So what did he do about that?
Nothing, because whenever I would go to see him, I would just talk about in the moment stuff. So every time he asked me how I was feeling, I said fine, because every time that he saw me, I was okay.
Right.
And I only thought to talk about in the moment.
Yeah, and he's a psychiatrist. Now, he kept waiting for reports to come in, neuropsychological testing that she had. And the thing is, I wasn't there.
Also the past history.
Oh, the past history, of course. There's all these medical documents from UCLA and Kaiser about Jani's mental health.
They were all given to DCFS immediately.
Yes.
So there was no problem with the documentation. The department had access to them, and whether or not they gave it to the doctor is all on them. We don't know.
That's another thing. Regional center. Both my kids have always had regional center involved in their life. So it's, pretty much open. Our whole scenario here is open. And Jani, did you even get any regional center help?
No, not really. No.
And they're another nonprofit. What you're going to find here in this theme is that a lot of these places are nonprofits that work together, give each other money. And I don't want to say the words money laundering, so I won't. They're just giving money between each other, and they're covering things up that are going on with these children in CPS custody.
The department has a $3.2 billion yearly budget, and so that money must be spent somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
So when we find out where the money goes and find out where those purses belong, then we can find out who is controlling the narrative.
Yeah.
So that's what we're about, is we want to expose the truth.
Exactly.
Yep.
So, Jani, now you mentioned that 40-year-old men were working inside this therapeutic girls group home. What were they doing there?
Well, I'm not going to say the name of this.
Don't say names.
I'm not going to say the name of this girl. But this 40-year-old man was playing with her, like picking her up and putting her down, picking her up, putting her down. And he dropped her. And I found out about that. I'm like, what? Why would he do this? This is not right. And then the same guy would also watch me and a lot of the other girls go to the bathroom.
And this was accepted as just no big deal? I mean, did anybody, say anything? It's not like, that's the problem, though.
No, nobody said anything. They just let it happen.
Because the social workers don't do anything. They're all there. They get money for taking children. They get money for placing children. That's where it stops. Then they just go on to get the next one. So they don't really want to hear anything bad that's going on in their quote-unquote placement. Because if they have to move a child, oh, no.
But the interesting part about Maryvale is that they applied for a license to care for psychiatric children. And it was the first year that they had their license. And Jani, I guess, was their first patient.
Yeah, one of the first, at least. And let's see.
She never met their goals.
Give her medication.
Well, of course, but like the regional center, and
actually, one of the girls at Maryvale was autistic.
Okay, but the thing is that in the program, okay, with your brother, there's certain goals that were required to be met in order to say that there was a successful program,
and goals that they had both met before they were taken.
Right, and the thing is that Maryvale did not meet their relicensing the following year because Jani did not meet any of her goals at Maryvale. They were simple goals like having one outburst a week.
Yeah, all of a sudden we're back to that because the regression was so bad that I mean, I can't talk about my open case, but it's very similar to the closed case. And
the thing is, the incidents were caused by nothing because the medication is what would allow the nothing to not become an incident. Without the medication, nothing becomes an incident. For instance, she went to breakfast and she got a tray of scrambled eggs in her breakfast, and she was walking up the stairs and she tripped and she spilled.
And it brought me back to the time when you were 6 and 7 years old. Oh my God, what happened during that time, Jani?
It became a whole event.
Oh, when I was 6 or 7?
No. When you tripped with your food at Maryvale, it became a 45-minute event.
Oh, Jani, you've got to move closer.
Yes. Okay. Yes, it did.
Okay, so what happened? We have actually documents, and we can put some of them up on the website, that detail these incident events. There are 38 that we have that happened. How many really went on there, though?
Likely over 100.
And every time I would call, everything's great. Social worker, she's doing great. Oh, yeah, I want to share that too. The email that shows her saying that Jani's having a great time.
Yeah. My favorite is when the judge said that that everyone is thriving outside of care.
Thriving.
And yet at that time they had already been through 4 rounds of the ER visits, and Jani had already lost 20 pounds in 13 days, and she had already been transferred to Maryvale and already had one attempted escape from Maryvale.
Oh, yes. Tell us about that. The one, because there's actually...
Which one?
Yeah, exactly.
Which one?
The one, I have a picture. I have a picture of that day, and actually we have a little bit of video. I came up, it was a Saturday. It was April 27th. I remember these dates, 2019. And that was my first time to visit you and at Maryvale, and I come up and you're climbing the fence.
Yes.
It's April 27th, and my daughter's trying to escape from Maryvale right now. This is scary. This is very scary because she's climbing the fence. A guy is trying to keep her from doing that, a woman too. But this is what is happening right now. I'm her mom. Okay, I can park in the street. Tell us about that.
Well, at Maryvale, this went on pretty much my entire stay. I would climb this electric fence that would let the cars in. It was a gate, and it was electric, and I would climb it, and 90% of the time I would climb it naked.
Well, this time, thankfully, you were clothed.
Yeah.
And I got video of this. I just started taking it. Of course, once they see me doing that, then they're like, oh, you can't do that. You can't do that. Remember, child abuse is confidential when it's happening in places like Maryvale and under social workers, under judges, courtrooms. Child abuse is confidential. You can't talk about it. So anyway, I actually came in there and I said, because you kept saying, I want to kill myself. I want to kill myself. And so I had one of the girls, I had her call the police because I wanted you to go to the hospital because you were a threat to yourself and others. See, that is the criteria. If you are a threat to yourself or others, you're going to hurt yourself or you're going to hurt other people or property, all that. You are taken to the ER.
And the 38 incident reports that were filed by Maryvale do specify a danger to herself and
absolutely.
others.
Not one of those times did she go to a hospital. Not one. And that is because the whole case against me was medication.
Yes.
So now I just want to finish this real quick, Jani. I came in to visit you, and you were so thin. I took a picture. This picture we still have, and because it's an incredible picture of that day. And then because I had made the girl call the police, she actually takes me out, throws me into a conference room where there's 12 police officers that are looking at me and staring me down and say, so ma'am, what's the problem here? And I'm like, well, my daughter just tried to kill herself. But ma'am, it seems like everything's okay. Like, what's going on with you? So they bring it right back to me. So luckily I thought about my friend who, her husband was a sergeant in Santa Clarita. And I actually said, well, you know what? I need all of your names right now because this is going to get legal very fast. At which point they started looking at each other, and the sergeant, I think, gave me his card. But then what happened is something happened in the hallway, and I think you were running out because they all started to leave me and ran to the hallway to you. And then,
because here's the thing. Part of why I was trying to kill myself, well, part of it was I was unmedicated, and part of it is because I hated Maryvale. I was not happy there. All the girls were out to get me there, and that's because, well, they were gang members.
Yeah. And Jani was put in, again, going from Valencia High School.
Well, she was isolated.
She was isolated. And what is
She was protected.
Right.
She did not know anybody like these girls ever in her life. She was never around them. This was not her normal accompanied
The only
area.
thing I'm actually grateful for, ironically, is the hospital stays where she was able to develop at an early age being around some of this because I had nowhere to put her. It was scary. And CPS, DCFS was always after us, always trying to get her out of our home.
And see, more than UCLA, the hospitals that I really learned something about the streets from were Loma Linda and BHC Alhambra.
That's right. Because they're basically like prisons for kids. And they get away with everything and anything. You are not allowed to question them because remember, the police are on the side of the social workers, and it's all wrapped up in with the LA Board of Supervisors. This is big. This is ugly. It's really happening.
Well, it's self-contained. That's the thing. They keep it self-contained. They keep a lid on it. And, that's the confidentiality, is they keep it contained so their criminal acts aren't exposed.
That's correct.
And one thing, during all this time that you were having these episodes at Maryvale, and one of them actually was you were able to go back to your high school, Valencia. They had to make that happen because, thank God.
Well, because of me.
Yes, because of you. But we also had our education advocate who worked it out. Oh, there are so many stories I have to say about this, but one that I'm going to get to right now is she was able to get Jani to say her right to her education and her right to be in the school that she was in. It wasn't her fault that she was taken out of this school. It was supposed to be my fault, yet I'm fine. And they take her and put her in a lockdown facility.
Exactly.
50 miles away.
Yes.
50 miles away.
Because, see, my mom was able to run free. I was locked up.
And this is, you know what? For whatever you've seen about our story all over the internet, you got to ask yourself, how come if I really did all this stuff, why am I free to go to Las Vegas? Why am I free in general? And she's locked up if it's not about the money. And that's the real thing here.
I want to say something.
Go ahead.
I was so confined and locked up that, well, in July of 2019, my grandfather died. And my parents were able to go see him, say goodbye to him at his funeral. I wasn't. And I will never get over that. My one chance to say goodbye to him was stolen. Because, see, people don't get buried twice. It's once, and that's it.
We were able to see him many times because we traveled up there.
Right.
In
because
May, June.
You were locked up and
May, June, and July. We traveled up there every time.
Yeah, and it is horrible. What is happening here is, and the reason we're also bringing this out is because it's not just us. And in future
and it's not
shows,
just the system. That's the thing. It's not just us, and it's not just the system. It's that there is an entity involved.
There's a business model here, and we are going to be able to show you that business model as we keep going on, and you're going to get sicker and sicker.
They're generating a good profit.
And the kids, some are dying. That's just a reality. And the people that are in charge of them, here's another thing. We talked about Children's Law Center. These are the guardian ad litems. These are the people behind the scenes of the social workers. Social workers are just a front. They're tools for all of this.
And see, the guardian ad litems, they don't actually go to visit the kids.
No.
What they do is they see them in court, and that's it.
Exactly.
But they don't care. That's the whole thing.
Nobody cares.
The guardian ad litems, the Children's Minors Council, they're not there to make sure that the children go back to their home. I don't know what they're there for, but they're not there for that purpose.
Here's the thing. What I noticed that they're there for right away is they present the bandwagon effect. So it's like you've got DCFS counsel on one end, saying all these terrible things about you. And then you have minors counsel there. I agree with DCFS. So it's like, oh, everybody just agrees with DCFS. And then your attorney, the court-appointed attorney from the nonprofit, remember, nonprofit, Ladle, nonprofit, CLC, Children's Law Center. They support each other. So the court-appointed attorney automatically is conditioning you to accept what everybody's saying about you. And if you don't accept it, don't say anything because the judge is going to think you're crazy. So just be quiet. And then the report that the DCFS counsel submits is taken as truth. And then uncontested truth.
Then with the report, then you finally get to what you did wrong. And then take your classes and see that's what the system is supposed to do, is that you're supposed to mollify and prostrate yourself before the court. Oh, I am so sorry. I bow before the court. And if you don't do that, then they take punitive action.
Yes. They make it worse.
Well,
it's already bad. And the thing is,
they don't end it.
No,
that's the thing.
They don't.
If you acquiesce enough, they end the case. If you don't acquiesce, then they fight you on the case, and that's where we still are. We're fighting because
she got out because she was 18.
Yes, literally. That's.
And the judge, he tried to keep her in.
Yes, he tried. I mean,
so hard.
See, there were two reasons I was able to get out. One, which is the main reason, 2 years ago almost, I turned 18. And the other reason was I had good foster parents.
Yes. They are wonderful. I hope at some point they might maybe they'll come
on.
join us.
Right.
And
They're saints.
Yep. And I still have their numbers to this day.
So anyway, that's all we have time for today, but you can find out more information on our website, theschofieldtruth.com. We will be sharing a lot of documents on there from Jani's closed case, a lot of videos from her closed case that happened during this time that I was never able to release. So thank you very much for joining us. Again, I'm Susan Schofield with my husband, Corey Cabana, my daughter, Jani Schofield, and we are the Schofield Truth.
Thank you very much.
Bye.